Welcome, everyone. We are live. Trying a new thing out, I suppose, on my phone. We'll see. Is that? We'll see if it works. I'll just wait for a couple more moments. Let me do guests, invite, copy link, go back there, and then can I do it? That is so weird. Let me know who's here, because I can't see it until you make a comment, I suppose. And then I will drop the link in there because I don't know how to do it from here on my phone. Bear with. See, this technology thing is I'll get it. Yard. Yeah. Oh, hello. Who's all here? Who is all here? Let me know. Because I'm just looking to get the link so that I can post it there. So that here, view there. Go there. Hey, Renee. Hi, Ruby. Let me see. Let me do this real quick and see if this will help me out. Okay, I just did that. Hey, Marjorie. I'm trying to get that link in there. Hold tight so that I can do this and enter there. Ooh, hope that doesn't cause a problem. And enter there. I am trying to get that. There we go. Invite, copy. There it is. And I want to pin that link now so that people can use it. Y'all are so good to me. You're so patient. Ms. M, it says you're a moderator in this space. Wait, there you go. Yay, the link is pinned. Woohoo! All right, let me begin then. Welcome, everyone. Because I always share with you what's going on and whatever manifestations I consciously do, like every morning. So now this is your guys' time. And I have one here. I'm keeping this person anonymous. It says, how I went from the double-minded man to finding the I am. I started this journey in 2019 looking to manifest money. I was watching different videos. Don't even know how I fell upon Neville Goddard, but I listened as I passed the time at work. I started doing affirmations for money and a peaceful workplace, and things started coming in. But I was still thinking it was the God outside of me. Anyway, life was good except my home life, my personal life. I was happy to go to work, but saw the weekend home or even after the day was over as going home to hell. Unknowingly, I defined my home as hell. And what did I get? Here we are, 2022, and my personal life is becoming more hell. And here I am blaming my partner, hoping, wishing he changes. Things exploded and he left, and I was somewhat glad because now I could find peace. But no, life had other plans for me because he wasn't the cause. I was carrying on life the same way I was until I watched a show called The Anatomy of Divorce. And I don't know what that show did to me, but I wanted my husband back. But I was still filled with so much anger. I thought I could manifest him back. I reached out to Angela in my lowest of lowest thinking. I need to fix myself. She would tell me things, and whatever she said made sense, but I just didn't want to listen or know where to start or want to start. I started listening to Neville again, but this time all his words were alive. I could see the error in my ways. Everything he was saying made sense right down to the depth of my being, but I still didn't want to see myself and take responsibility. I will always get to the place of no one to blame but self. But I had a whole mental file cabinet of what everybody else had done. So I will just give up and let the world continue giving me what it wants. I was stuck there. One day I was reading The Law and the Promise, chapter 3, Turn the Wheel Backward. There was a story of someone going back nearly 40 years to heal her back. I decided I'm going to test it, to revise everything in my life, every horrible memory I was holding on to as some payoff, and even things and people I can make better, I made better. From doing revision, I was going within every day. Plus, I was journaling my day, my feelings, and saying affirmations, even if I didn't believe or feel them. Doing the revisions just made me feel different. And I wasn't looking for anything. Plus, I fell into the habit. I just wanted to feel better and was feeling lighter and lighter every day in my body. I defined my world to have peace, love, joy, happiness, goodwill, and abundance. I got triggered a lot of times. I cried, got angry, and even started talking to myself whenever an old story comes up, trying to shut it down. I didn't think anything was happening because my husband wasn't back or showing any signs of coming back. One day I looked around and my world had changed. I felt peace around me. I found a new love for the rain, the sun, and everything around me. Just sitting, watching the world around me felt so wonderful. The law was working and my world was changing. I was changing, but I still didn't have that conviction that it was my doing. Inside of me, there was still this yucky feeling. I carried on doing my journaling, going within any chance I got, and doing my everyday life. One night I was out. A friend bought a cheese board, and here I am thinking, I can't eat cheese. But something came to me, and I took the cheese, looked at it, and said to the cheese, you can't do me anything. And nothing happened. Then I remembered I have a problem with coffee too, and we'll need to try this again. So weeks later, I tried it and took my power back from the coffee because I thought coffee made me nervous. Then what gave me the boost was revising someone at work who looked all depressed. Plus, she had a terrible pain in her hand. I brought her before me and I saw her well. And 2 days later, she was bouncing and was the happiest thing. This thing really works, was my thought. But my mind came back to the coffee, and then I was suddenly thinking about my husband and felt suddenly down. And at that moment, I thought, you have my power too, and I'm taking it back. I started saying affirmations right there on the spot and felt the biggest relief ever. Then I remembered my mother and the things I was holding on to, and I took my power back. And then I remembered my brother and took my power back. I had made myself very meek and small with a lot of people, things, places, etc., unconsciously, feeling like I never was good enough. I was a grasshopper in their sight. That moment was the turning point for me. Now I was in my power. Now I know whatever I say is with conviction. Now I can feel what I defined my world as peace, love, joy, happiness without any person or thing giving it to me. I can feel it within. Now the knowing is there. with conviction. Now that I can look back and see I had defined my home as hell. And what did I get? Hell. The power of our words. I would listen to Neville, then go watch gossip channels, murder mystery channels, every shit under the sun. My mental diet was terrible. I would involve myself in the juicy gossips. I was bringing a whole lot of mess into my world. I created hell for my life, myself, and the law said, as you wish. A big shift came when I read Neville's 5 lessons. Lesson 4, no one to change but self. Everyone says change your self-concept, and I didn't understand nothing. Applying that lesson has made such a big difference in me, and I truly understand self-concept. I quickly changed everything in my world, and it has reshaped pretty quickly. I use it for every single thing now, and I mean everything. No one to change but self is the living truth. Going within every day is the answer. Spending time with I am is the best thing ever. Everything has become so natural and easy. Everything. I can now say I have found him, the I am. This manifesting my husband back has taught me so much that manifesting money and things have never even touched the surface of. I truly examined myself to the core and took responsibility for everything. I was the cause. All the revisions I did, even going back to childhood and changing all the stories that kept my extended family in a loop. I felt different, as if I was dropping weights from me. But there has to be many movements happening right now. It's unbelievable. Revision has been the most powerful tool. There's no point in holding on to anything mentally if it doesn't bring peace or joy, because nothing matters out there. I am now weeding and pruning my garden like never before. I am the happiest I have ever been in my whole life. No thing or person has ever made me feel this way, maybe for a fleeting moment, but now I remember who I am. This journey took me 3 months of finally not giving up and getting to I am. Oh, I love this part. My mother named me Pearl, my middle name, a name I never liked. But now I can say I am the pearl because I had always had the pearl. I dropped and sold everything naturally that doesn't serve me because it is the way to true freedom and divine love. As within, so without. Be ye doers of the word and not hearers only. What a beautiful testimony. I trust you all heard that. What a beautiful testimony. You see, because sometimes as she said, she started out wanting to manifest money. And I think that's where we all start, you know. We all start wanting to get things. But somewhere in there, she realized, oh, well, I can create things. I have been creating things. Wow. I remember when I got that email and I read it. It moved me in such a way because we sometimes want to look for quick fixes, right? It's human nature. Sometimes we want to, but it's just one of those things, right? Sometimes we want the quick fix, but if we are diligent, and this is what this testimony showed us to do. This testimony showed us persistence and consistency did what? It brought about the desired changes, right? That's what it did. So I trust you were as inspired as I was. Here's our next guest. Hello, Flo Smiles. Let's see. Do you have your sound on?
Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can.
Okay.
Ah,
Let me
love you.
start on my car. Okay, I've been cleaning my room up all day for this, and ironically, I'm in my car.
That's
So I just wanted to quickly tell you what happened the other day
yes.
as you were hitting the ball. So as soon as you touched the ball, my house flooded with teenage boys. So now I had to block all of that out, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I did it, and I felt like four pulses like coming through my chest.
Okay.
And as soon as I got comfortable in that, one of the kids that I don't let in the house hit the side of the wall with the basketball.
Mm-hmm.
So I attempted to block that out, and the pulsating stopped. And then as he kept hitting it, I eventually, like the fourth time, I jumped up and screamed, "Hey!" And I got such a rush because I went from that calm to that, I guess, anger,
Mm-hmm.
that I got dizzy. I had to sit down, I breathed, and I laughed about it
Yeah.
because I've been practicing for a while. And I never really, I've seen like where people have gotten to that state and they said you can get to that state. And it really wasn't what I set out to do.
Mm-hmm.
But once I felt it, and I felt it once before when we were on fan base and we were all sending good vibes to Miss Ravioli who had passed.
Yes.
I felt it that time. It wasn't a pulse. It was just like a sensation in the middle of my chest, just like a nice empty sensation. I just wanted to share that with you. I just thought that was hilarious.
Well, it's a good thing though, because I've started experimenting with the crystal bowl, and I remember the first night I played that bowl. I do, if I could put it into words, I totally would. It was just, it overtook me, whatever it was. It was one of the most beautiful feelings I had ever encountered. It overwhelmed my senses. And so now with you sharing this, and then Miss M is in here saying, I told you that bowl was magical, right? Like and that's why we'll consistently do it every Tuesday at the same time to get us into the habit. Because then we start incorporating. Somebody said that to me earlier today. They went through this whole week and their anger, they don't even remember being angry. Whereas before that was their norm, right? So that's why the encouragement is there, that these things that we do in our lives, if we would persist with them, we would begin to see so many more beautiful changes, right? And on so many different levels. And so I appreciate it, Flow Smiles, Sugar Visions.
You're welcome.
I appreciate it. So there. Let me see who else is in here. You can always jump back in if you want to. Let's see who else has got something if they're not scared. Yes. Let's see who else is here. Let me see. Let's see. So, you see, you see, this is so beautiful. All of these changes happen in our lives, and they encourage us. And then we notice we start walking in a particular state. We start living from that state. But it just takes a little bit of practice to get ourselves in that new flow, that new routine. Like, it is so beautiful. You see, the link is pinned. Is it? Uh-oh. Hang on. Let me do that. Oh, I can't see anymore in the chat. If you, oh, there it is. It is pinned. So just click on that pinned link and you will pop up here as a guest. and you can decide if you want to be on camera or not. It's totally up to you to share, because it is such a beautiful thing to look back. You know how Neville Goddard says the I remember when technique? Well, now you're living it, because now Flo smiles what she's done. She had that time, that moment of ease and relaxation, and she knows what it feels like. So now she'll always go back there because that's what she wants. So she'll get back to that spot and she'll expand from there. Right? But think about it. If she had just given up, you know what I mean? Sometimes we get interruptions, but we don't give up. You hold the goal. What is that image that you say you're creating? You hold that. And that's where you go towards every single time. And some things look like a detour. Sure they do. But they aren't detours. Let me see. I know there was another email I got. And she now, look, I'm gonna just have to call your name with this one. Not. Because I know she might be at work. There's a continuation with her story. Now she's in her new location for work, right? But now she's doing something. She sent me a note this morning and she said, I'm gonna do it. She signed up to do what? Learn yoga and teach it. Because that was her desire. She said, this is what I want to do. And so she sent me the schedule. She's like, I did it, Angela. I signed up and I'm doing it. Because if you had followed last testimony or the one before, remember Anot was always a little bit shy, a little bit tentative. And I just said, well, you're going to have to be bold here and just do it. And she's been doing one bold thing. She did the marathon. Also, Cynthia, she did the marathon too. That's part of her testimony. So Anot did the marathon. She applied the law with whatever healing she had going on with her family. She moved. And not only did she move, I don't know if you guys remember from last time, not only did she move, her boss was like, you want to fly or do you want to drive? And facilitated her move. And she got her birth weekend off. Like, come on, man. And she's just actually been walking in that boldness day in and day out, right? Also with Cynthia, with hers, she said to me, I'm going to do this marathon. Do you remember? Because we shared it a little while back on a morning inspiration. Then she sent this note in the chat and she said, but it's scheduled to rain for the marathon. Angela, what do I do? And I was like, apply the law. How do you see the race? How do you see yourself crossing that finish line? And do you know, it only got overcast. It was actually a really good day to run because it wasn't too hot. You see? And she crossed the finish line. She gonna send me a picture with her ribbon. Hey, like this is what she did, and it did not rain. So all of these things, like we say, oh well, that's little, that's not really significant. Oh, it matters to the person. I'm trying to remember the other testimony. Now I'm not gonna call her name at all, but lots of things have changed for her. She's beginning to see now where she used to feel like things were her fault. You know, because as a child, I won't go into grave detail, but feeling as if as a child, she made those things happen to her. And she grew up with that. This is my fault. But then a couple days ago, maybe last week before, she messaged me and said, oh my God, I finally understand. Then you said what you said, Angela. I saw it now. It wasn't my fault. And do you know something else that happened from there? I keep telling you guys, right? You don't see your progress, you know, but I see it because I'm the one who talks to you every day, every other day. I talk to you a lot. So I'm seeing your progress. When you come with a problem and you say, well, I don't know how to deal with this one, which law do I apply? Sometimes me not being able to respond right away is a very good thing for you. Because by the time she was done sending the message, she had already linked the cause and the effect. She had already linked the cause and the effect. And she knew what to change. All I did was give a suggestion. But she applied the work. That is her testimony. You know what it means to recognize that you weren't angry all week? Then that's been your usual lifestyle. These are the things I'm talking about. And I know there's some things like I can't share names, but when people say I'm seeing my marriage differently, I'm communicating better. When people say those things to me, all I did, and they say, well, thanks, Angela. And I'm like, I didn't really do anything. You are the one. It's like if you pick up a book and you read it and you apply what's in there, you are the one putting in the work time and time again. Every day, all day, that's what you do. You put in the work and you apply the law and you're conscious of what you're doing. You're paying attention to what you're doing. That's what you guys are doing on a daily basis. That's why I'll be dropping some confetti because you're the ones doing the work, right? So where is it when you go back and you look at it? What do you mean you don't have a testimony? Of course you do. You have one. The minute you recognize what was once a stumbling block and now you make it into a stepping stone, you transmute it into a stepping stone. That is a testimony. Because I was blind, but now I see. You understand? That's the whole point. You couldn't see it before, but every day that you apply the law, you begin to see more clearly and you change your lives because of it. That's what you guys do on a daily basis. That's what you do on a daily basis. Like I'm watching all of you because as I say, you guys talk to me every day. And I'm watching you guys. You're growing and you're learning and you're experimenting and you're practicing with the law. And you're noticing the way you used to be and the way you're becoming, the distance in between is getting bigger because you're more here now. You're more this is who I want to be more and more. Do you totally not see that with yourselves right now? That's the beautiful part. That is the beautiful part right there. So, is there anybody else who wants to share something? You sure can. You can listen, if you're scared and you don't want to talk like Flo Smiles did, put it in the chat. You don't have to be scared. We're all friends here in this space, but I understand shyness. I do. I totally get that, but it's all good. I mean, I'm trying to remember just things that happen and they just seem to come out of nowhere. And you're like, oh, wait, but I did that. And you're like, I sure did. So what's the process for practicing the law? The process for practicing the law is know exactly what it is you want to create. Because when you know what it is and you're clear on it, you understand when you're clear on it, now you are taking up that cause and the effect has to present itself. Cause and effect. So then remember we were reading the first testimony, and she said, well, she's the cause. There was not a change but self. Did you notice how there wasn't a judgment? You notice how, and I don't know how long that part took, because you know how we are people and we tend to beat ourselves up. I don't know how long that took her to not do. Right? But she did it. She said, I see. I will revise myself. And she changed her life. You know, listen, you know how good it feels when somebody messages me and says, oh my God, I did it. You were right. Now, I don't do it to be right, because there's nothing to be right about. The law is always going to be right. But when they said, I didn't believe you. I didn't believe you that it was me. And then, like, now I see it, and I change me and everything else changes. I'm like, There's still some things I can't tell you just yet. I don't have permission to share them. But that's what it is. That's why testimony time is so important. So if you, because we're at that half an hour mark, if you want to hop on here and share something, or you want to send something in the chat to share something, go ahead. Or else we're going to have to wait till, I don't know when we'll have the next one, right? I try and give us time in between, right? Do you have any questions about where you would like to apply the law or have more clarity? That's also something we can discuss here, because I don't want to keep you long, right? Are there any questions so that we can expand on those things, right? Because I know how we get sometimes as people. Yeah. And we don't always feel like persisting. And sometimes we feel like, nothing is ever going to change. Sometimes we feel like that. But the charge is this. That's just a feeling. I tell it to you all the time. It's just a feeling. Oh, I feel like I just want to give up. I feel like this is not working. That is only a feeling. But if, like the first person's testimony, if you persist, if you remain polarized in the direction of where you say you want to go, then what does the law of cause and effect tell you? It tells you if you do this cause, you will bring about the effect, and it is predictable, your effect. So if you are putting in the time to practice getting clear about who you say you are and getting clear about what it is you say you want to accomplish, well, then, so long as you remain clear without judgment, you have to understand this part. The judgment part is what will get us every time. It will put a stick in your spoke. That judgment of, oh, I don't know if that's possible. Oh, manifestation doesn't work. That's just mumbo jumbo. Right? When you begin to judge like that, you now turn around and go back to where you were coming from, the way your life was. That's what you're doing. That's why it feels the way it does. So feelings are showing you where you are in polarity. It's showing you where you are. You say, I'm moving from here that doesn't feel so good to here that feels better. And you get halfway to feeling better. And because you might not see an instant result, you say, it doesn't work. It still sucks. Well, now you've backtracked all the way to where you started from. So if you turn and go back in that direction, you have to start seeing those things happen again, because that's where you're going. But if you stay in the polarized direction of your change, sure, You have to get up every morning and do the same thing to keep yourself polarized. You have to catch yourself when you want to say things to yourself like, oh my God, this totally sucks. How come it's not changing? Those kinds of things. We have to work through that part. The brambles and the briar, right? The thorns. You got to cut through those things. But the good news is this: the more you stay polarized in the direction that you say that's where you're going, from to where you're going, now you will start to see more and more opportunities present themselves. If something arises, I don't know if you're here. I ain't gonna call your name, but I'll send you the link. Maybe you are here. When you get a setback, quote unquote, and it says, well, I have to keep passing up on these opportunities. You see that? That's showing you something that you do all the time. It's showing you a hidden habit. It is showing you a hidden behavior that you do, a hidden thought pattern that you have. And if you look at that thing, why am I always having to pass up on these opportunities? I can't catch a break. Right there, you're now privy to a stumbling block. You're looking at it. What? You just tripped over it again. Instead of complaining, look at it. What is it saying to you? It's showing you your behavior as clear as day. And when you see your behavior, now you've got some options. Because you're looking at your behavior that is causing you to stumble every time. Remember, the stumbling block is your saving grace right here, right now. Because if you don't stumble over it, you don't know it's there. And if you don't know it's there, you cannot change. How would you know what to change from if you don't trip over it? So you see, perspective is everything. This is how you turn your stumbling block into a stepping stone. You look at it and you say, what? I keep doing this? What is that behavior that you keep doing? Well, it's the thing that made you say you keep doing it. It's that thing. Baby, I see you. But you understand what I'm saying to you. That thing, that burr in your saddle that's there. Now you can see it clearly for what it is. And then you get to say, oh, that's what I keep doing? I feel this way and I keep acting that way because I feel that way? The stumbling block is not there for you to be agitated. Of course, you want to be agitated, but that's not its purpose. Its purpose is to show you, oh, snap, look at what you're doing. Do you want to keep doing this behavior? And then when you see it and you say, well, no, I don't want to keep doing that behavior. What do? You polarize yourself in the direction of the thing you say you're creating now. All because you stumbled back there. You see, we can't look at stumbling as a bad thing. Can't look at stumbling as a bad thing, y'all. That might be my dad. If that might be my dad. I just heard the horn. That might be daddy. So anywho, that's what I'll share with you today. Because sometimes that's what we're tempted to do. As you are on your way to changing your life, you're doing it. You are. And then something makes you stumble. It's not making you stumble because, you're doing good. Let me mess you up. That's not what it's doing. It's showing you what the next step for you is. What's that? You see, these things do not show up because they're random. They show up because that's the path you're on. So because you are walking that path of changing your life, well, then that thing crops up and you say, oh, right? You say, I can't take this anymore. No. Perspective. It's not there to beat you down. It's showing you what you need to now Because you said you're changing your life, right? Well, it's showing you what the next thing to change is. It's showing you that behavior that keeps that thing coming up. Think about if you had to go and dig through your life to find changes. You wouldn't know where to go. But when you say, I am the cause, well, now you're creating effects. And the effect is that stumbling block. It looks like a stumbling block, doesn't it? But that's the effect because you said you're changing. So now that you stumbled there, look at it. Don't judge it. Don't beat yourself up. Look at it. What is it saying? It's showing you the behavior that you do that causes you to stumble every time. And so now you get to be in a position to say, oh, I don't want to stumble there anymore. Let me change my behavior. That is what's happening. That is what is unfolding. Because you must understand, when we go back in our lives and we live from that place of regret or anger, well, that's where you're polarized. And so those things are creating for you more effects so that you can continue living from that place. But when you say, I am changing my life, you see what happens when you say you're changing your life? It'll show you the thing you need to change so you can be free of it and you won't have to repeat that old pattern anymore. I'm trusting that this is making sense because I know it's making sense to me. But I'm the one saying it. But when I say it's making sense to me, I am seeing. I know you guys might think, oh, Angela has some things together. I got my brains are being held in. So I'm good. That's what I got together. But when I see these things, when I see myself doing the same thing, and I'm like, that's what you're telling me. And I get there, and just like the first person said, they journaled. They journaled. Write these things down. What are you looking at? Begin to write it down. Don't just say, why am I always doing this? What is it that you're always doing? Write that thing down so you can see it. Because what are you using when you write it down? Polarity. You're saying, where am I now? I'm right here and I'm doing this. That's my stumbling block. So where do you want to be? Where do you want to step to? Step two. Step two. Timberland, yes. Where do you want to step to? Then you look at that stumbling block because it's showing you. And now you create from there. Oh, I am changing. I will address the behavior that is causing me to stumble. Yes, you address it, assess it, don't judge it. It's showing you your freedom. It's showing you, hey, this is what's keeping you stuck. That's what it's doing. I just want you to see that. It's showing you what you're doing that has kept you stuck this whole time, that keeps you stuck. That's what it's showing you. Hey, Renee, I'm glad it makes sense. Because if we make it our practice to look at the stumbling block when you stumble over it and assess it, well, that's 95% of the change right there, the recognition of what's causing you to fall. You see? When I tell you that the law is spectacular, it truly is. The very fact of coming into the understanding and the awareness of what you're doing is do you know how many people don't see what they're doing and can't see it, and they won't hear you no matter how much you yell? Look at the position you're in. You can see it. Then use it to your advantage and change. Because that in itself is a manifestation. I mean, you say, I want to change for the better. I want to be over here now. I want to have more prosperity. Well, then if you want to see and experience more prosperity, you have to see what's causing you to stumble and live in lack. But hey, Don't take my word for these things. Just practice. And that's why I make myself available for your questions, because I get it. I get how tricky sometimes it can be when you're like, why am I still here? You're not still there because you're a bad person or you're being punished, just that you haven't quite seen what it is. The light hasn't been shed on it yet. Yes, journaling can be the first step. You don't judge, because it reveals what you're doing. See it now and create the change. Because why? Because everything is happening now. Yes, KZ, everything is happening now. When you see it, you're seeing it now because you're experiencing it now. And so what do you do now? Change the cause now to bring about the effect now. That's what's so beautiful about the law. Remember, that link is there. It's pinned there. If you want to come up here and share something, you can. Because as I say, as the preacher would say, I'm not going to keep you long. Yeah, I'm not going to keep you long. But I trust that these things make sense to you. And the more you apply the law, the more clear it becomes. Have clarity. Everything is going to start with, what do I want? Remember the potter at the wheel. If you don't have an image in your mind, you're just going to sit there at the wheel and pump it. And what's going to happen to the clay? It'll dry out. So as the potter at the wheel, you must have an idea of what it is, right? So now you're looking at this piece of clay and you're like, I feel like doing something with that clay, but I just don't know what. Okay, well, start living then. That's what it means. I don't know what I want out of life. Start living it. Start there. So as soon as you touch the clay, you're like, oh, that feels nice. You know what I'd like to see? I'd like to see a new bowl. How do you know what you want unless you get in it? Get in it and start molding it and shaping it until it becomes what you say you want it to be. It is always going to start there with the image of what it is you want to create. And if you're not sure of what you want to create, you start with, well, what do I like? Start there. Or you could say, well, what do I don't like? Because if you say what you don't like, you'll start to see what you do like. But I always encourage going that way. Say what you like. Marjorie, we choose the end, but not the drama to get there. But don't give up. Keep pushing through. Yes, Marjorie, thank you. That is so true. Choose the end result. Vase, bowl, mug, plate. You know, what are you going to create with that clay? That clay is your life. Guy Smiley. Every time I say this is your life, that's what I think of. You are the one shaping it. Now do you see why it's so important for you to be accountable for your actions? Because you are the one shaping your life. Think about this for a moment. Most people say, I don't know. You want them to dictate how your life should be when they don't know what they want? As that person said in their testimony, take your power back. Your accountability for yourself is your power. You take it back and you decide what you want. Let me read. Renee says, I got it now, Angela. You're the best. Well, you're welcome, Renee. Just practice, practice, practice. That's all that's required now. It's just practice. And you will see that confidence comes out of it. The more you practice, the more bold you become. The more bold you become, the more confident you become. That confidence, you become more secure in who you are. You begin to know more and more who you are. So you see how it is bigger? Because remember, the first person's testimony is how we always usually start, trying to manifest more money. But something happens to you along the way. You see how the law works? Funny thing that. You in here talking about, I want to manifest more money. I want a new car. I want a new job. And then somewhere along the line, the law says, ooh, let me mold and shape you to becoming most tremendous. Why is that? Because the law recognizes that you, my beautiful friends, are not simply money. You're not simply cars. You're not simply relationships. There is far more to you. But you got to get started somewhere, right? That is the beauty of the law. If you use the law, you will begin to see it for yourself that the law is showing you. And that's why you don't give up. Why it hasn't come. It doesn't work. You're missing what the law is doing to you. You're missing it. The law is sculpting you. You can't escape it. It is showing you your greatness. And you out here talking about, my money is not here yet. Listen, I understand because these bills don't pay themselves. I get it. But if you allow the law to mold and shape you, you'll begin to understand that it's not about the money. It's not about the car. It's not about the house. It's not about the spouse. Not that those things are insignificant. They're not. But what the law is showing you by your very interaction consciously with it, that you can create anything simply because you're fantastic, because you're great, because you are incredible. The French say it so much better. C'est incroyable. Like, the language is just beautiful. So when you grasp that part, you're not being denied anything. You're being shown what's been holding you back from being your best. That's what the law is doing. Tell me again you want to give up. Now you understand the importance of persistence. Not persist until you get what you want. Persist until you become who you were meant to be. Hear how it is? You don't persist until you get what you want. You persist until you become who you were created to be in the first place. That is what we do. That is why persistence is important. But sometimes we get, as I said, bills don't pay themselves and we get caught up and we are blinded. Stop. Miss M. Sugar Vision says she also started with money. Yes, but Miss M, now I'm singing, I need a hero. That song is like, but the law is your hero. You get what I'm saying to you? And it doesn't wear a cape. No capes. You get tangled up in capes too much. But do you see what it is? The law is your hero. It is showing you at every turn your greatness. And every stumbling block is dead weight that's being released from your life that has kept you trapped this whole time. Here it's where it's kept you trapped. And the law is saying, hold on a little longer and let me free you. That's what it's saying to you, day in and day out. Come now. You hear? So don't give in to the thing that says, I can't. I don't know how. The law is saying, point yourself in the direction you want to be in. How do you point yourself there? Where are you now? What are you doing? Where do you want to be? And what do you want to be doing? That's how you point yourself. By acknowledging where you are now and then choosing where you want to be. And everything that is every effect that's going to come out of that cause of you pointing yourself there, everything you encounter along that bridge of incidents is showing you what has held you down and held you back. And if you will notice, it wasn't ever a person, was it? It was a behavior that you learned. And the law is saying, let it go, let it go. By doing what? Acknowledging its presence. Oh, that's what has been getting me stuck? Okay, that's the problem. Well, where's the solution? Look at the problem and you'll see the solution right there. And begin to do the solution. Right now, begin to do the solution. And inevitably, because it's where you're pointed at, like it is, good, bad, or indifferent. If you point yourself in the direction of complaining, then you must complain. But if you point yourself in the direction of freedom, well, then what must you be? That's what the law is. The law is your hero. It releases you from any snare because it will show you the snare. That's what the law will do for you day in and day out. And that is why you persist. There goes that Harley. Like, but you know, I digress. Anywho, yes, Marjorie, remember who you are. And Renee says, so true, no more dead weights. But of course, the law only creates freedom, y'all. So what do you think it's going to do for you when you use it? Create bondage? It can't create bondage because that's not its purpose. It only creates freedom. It only creates abundance. So everything that blocks you from it, it will show you your behavior. It will show you where you are complicit. It'll show you. And all you got to do is acknowledge it and say, I see where I am and what I'm doing. Okay, so here's where I want to be, and this is what I want to be doing. Done like dinner. Listen, I hope you are as invigorated as I am now, because that's something I've never said before. Persist, not until you get what you want, but persist until you see who you were meant to be. I've never said that before, but it came out of my mouth like, surprise, right? There you go. I will leave you all with that. Okay? Because y'all know, if you let me stay, and if you stay, there'll be a whole lot of preaching going on. And so, yes, I will give another few moments for that straggler, if you so want to pop in here and share your testimony, whatever it is, you know. But Renee and Marjorie and Miss M and Sugar Visions and KZ, A-Not, Ruby, thank you all for being here. Even the ones who have not made themselves known in the chat. I'm glad you were here too. So you see, the law is, oh, let me read what you say. Yes, I like who I'm becoming, Renee. That's what it is. I like who I am becoming. You say it again. I like who I am becoming. But of course, we're always in a state of becoming because we're moving from to. It is law. See, it is law. Can't get past that. You could try. Ill-advised, but you could try. Yes, A-Not, I love me. I am free. You see, when this is what separates idle words from conviction and what is real, because you've experienced it. Huh? This law is what separates the idle affirmations from the true conviction. Because when you, listen, when you roll around in the law and it covers you from head to toe, and you are bathed in its fragrance, do you understand? It is absolutely phenomenal. And when you say, I am free, you can say that with your whole chest because you know it, because you experience it. The freedom here. And as you all know, as within, so without. See the difference? You guys live it every day, don't you? You're living the law every day consciously now. You're aware of what you're doing. And it is beautiful. So be encouraged, my beautiful friends, to continue living by way of law. What laws, you ask? Mentalism. The all is mind. The universe is a mental creation. As within, so without, as above, so below. Correspondence, because everything vibrates, nothing stands still. Everything vibrates where? Between two poles, two things that are the same. They're the same. Hot and cold, same. Love and hate, same. Oh, it looks different, does it? It looks different. Love and hate. You remember that movie, A Thin Line Between Love and Hate? Because it is only a matter of vibration that separates the two. Imagine that for a moment. I love you so much I could just squeeze you. I hate you so much I could just squeeze you. Well, you want to do the same thing. You want to squeeze, don't you? Same thing. It vibrates between two poles, polarity, a swing to and fro. But that swing creates a rhythm, an ebb and a flow, creating a cause. And every cause has its effect. Every effect, its cause. A projection of your will or your intention, masculine. Giving life, giving form, feminine. Those are the laws that govern all of creation. From the smallest thing to the largest. Size is irrelevant. It is all governed by the same 7 principles. In the description below, you will see those 7 principles are called, well, you'll find them in the KYBALION. They're the Hermetic principles. Indeed. This is real life here. Let me read. KZ is reminding us to persist until you become who you are becoming, as we are consciously living by way of the law. Well, you're welcome, KZ. There. That sums it up. Now I have to remember that I said that. I have to remember it because that's not how it's being said anywhere else. Right? Anywho, I love you and thank you for sharing your testimonies, all of you. Marjorie, let me read this. She says, I remember one time Angela told me I was perfect, but I couldn't say that at the time. Now I can put all the wonderful things to my I am and truly feel it because now I know. She knows it. But of course, you see, now you understand now, again, the difference between believing and knowing. If you read that, she says, I remember when Angela told me I was perfect. She didn't believe me. Why not? Because she had not yet experienced it for herself. And now that she's experienced it, ain't nobody can come along and tell her otherwise. Why not? Because she knows who and what she is. You don't have to believe it anymore. You see what the law does to you? It takes you from a place of weakness, which is having to rely on the word of somebody else. And it puts you in a position to know it for yourself. Tell me again how the law does not elevate you. Tell me how the law does not empower you. Eh? You think it just empowers the trees and the high tide and the low tide, the full moon? You think it just, no, it doesn't just govern that. It governs you. You. And that's why it takes you, look at it again. If I keep saying something over and over to you, right? It could be the truth. It could be a lie. But it will influence you because it is what you hear. It's how many times you hear it that creates the influence in your mind. But what does the law do? The law gives the experience so that you know a thing. You're not a victim when you know. You're not a slave when you know. Somebody says, believe you can be free. No. You need to experience freedom. Indeed. Because then you will know. And then you know freedom. You will be hard pressed to give it away. See what the law does for you? But I just told y'all, if you stay and I stay, we gonna preach. So y'all don't have to go home. You know how that ends, right? But this is the beautiful thing about the law. And it really is tremendous. And when you start getting around it and immersing yourself in it, mentalism, correspondence, vibration, polarity, rhythm, causation, gender. When you start getting around it, it'll change you. 6 months ago, I would never have gotten on camera. Today, I looked forward to it. Yes, Sugar Visions. Yes. Do you think now somebody that you can go anywhere and not be able to speak to anybody? You can go anywhere and speak to anybody because you've experienced confidence. You've experienced boldness. And so now you're just like, I am. And you go out and you speak with the conviction of I am. That's what I'm talking about. There you go. There you have it. There you have it. So anywho, I love you all. Thank you for being here. Thank you to everybody who submitted their written testimonies. And thank you for the people who gave permission to share their testimonies. It is appreciated. Let it be an encouragement to all of us that we persist, not until we get what we want, but persist until we become who we were meant to be. Much love.